Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's your turn. We're going to open up the phone lines and take your questions. On the screen in front of you, you'll see a text box where you can enter your questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. We'll now move to our full panel discussion.
All right, we've reassembled the panel. It's James Alexander here, and I'm joined by Ray Gingras from Everlink, Dan Potter from IBM, Don Richardson from Acumetrics, and of course my own colleague Joel Martin from the Infotech Research Group. Welcome, gentlemen. As I mentioned a moment ago, you can ask your question simply by typing it into the question panel on the screen in front of you. We've had a number of questions come in during the broadcast, and we've had a number of questions that were submitted during the registration process. So let me just begin, though, by asking a question of the entire panel. And business intelligence is a complex solution area. It encompasses many things. Is BI really a solution that's applicable for mid-sized businesses? What's the best way to begin? And I'll start with you, Ray.
Yes, I would say absolutely. This is a solution that's applicable to the small and mid-sized businesses. We obviously have not necessarily the same scales of budget and capacity that a larger organization may have, which means we have to be very, very smart about our investment. And we strive to excel in what we do and the service we provide. So therefore, we've got to be equipped to be timely, reacting to the data we have. So we must begin with a focus in mind. And typically, like what we try to do is not to be fancy. You start where you may have the greatest impact across the organization, and then you start to build onto it. So definitely, it's big value to the organization, and then you can go on from there.
Thanks. Dan, would you care to comment? Cognos Express has been designed specifically for the mid-market.
Yeah, I would echo some of the things that Ray said. If getting insight to make better decisions is really critical for all organizations, and especially mid-sized organizations who are often fighting above the weight class compared to some of the larger competitors. And I would say in some ways mid-sized organizations are better positioned to really take full advantage of BI and planning because mid-sized organizations can respond faster. If you can identify those opportunities to grow market share, to reduce costs without having an impact on the organization, and can align those resources faster, again, I think mid-sized organizations are very, very well positioned to take advantage of BI.
Joel, as an analyst, you speak to the IT and user community all the time. What's your take on this?
Well, I guess I would reflect back to a conversation I had, and it was mentioned in Dan's presentation with John Gowers, the CIO of Blue Mountain, and he talked about one of his big bets when he came on as CIO of Blue Mountain was bringing together what the company knew to align itself for future growth. And the key there was they had, dozens of independent systems that they needed to bring the information together to really analyze how their customers were accessing the services of Blue Mountain, how they were planning vacations, how the retail stores, the rental shops were able to provide services on time based on the ebbs and tides of people coming to the event. It was a big bet on his part early on in his career that paid off in spades because it allowed him to take a new view of the information from across multiple systems and data repositories and even people across Blue Mountain and present this to the team that was in charge of growing the business, all the business owners from sales to the hotels to the ski lifts, and really plan the growth of Blue Mountain and start structuring everything from their expansion of hotels to the rental equipment they had based on the season that they had to offer. And it really paid off in spades. So again, big business like mid-sized business is at a great growth stage. They've established themselves, they've established brand, they've established customers. They're looking to grow. They need to move beyond just having reports and be able to plan effectively how they can grow by providing new services to new customers and then getting those customers to become existing customers, etc.
Don, as a solution provider, you sit at the intersection of the problem and the solution. So I'd like to hear your perspective on this.
I think the previous comments highlight that the mid-sized organizations are no different than larger organizations in terms of the need to understand their performance. They have transactional systems to run their business, but in essence, what they need to do is turn that data into information. What we're also seeing in mid-sized organizations is a heavy reliance on Excel. And Excel is a powerful tool, but what it tends to do is create multiple versions of the truth because they have multiple spreadsheets with the same information. And we often have this conversation with executives where they'll sit in a meeting and they'll spend more time talking about whether the data is right than what they're going to do about it. So if we can alleviate that problem for mid-sized businesses, there's a big gain. And again, I think in terms of where to start is start by identifying a particular business pain around information, whether it's missing information or incomplete information, and drive your competitiveness or your profitability through resolving that pain and then grow from there.
Transitioning into a BI solution is on the minds of our viewers. Here's a question. For initial implementation, how do I reorganize the data to integrate into the BI engine? How much effort is involved? And I don't mean the technical skills, but the organization of the data to make it useful. And you're on a roll there, Don, so let's hear your view on that.
Yeah, for many mid-sized organizations, what we find is that we can avoid the typical solution where we create a data warehouse or a reporting database. The data's there. The issue is that in the transactional systems, it's structured in such a way that it's difficult to extract it in a way that presents information as opposed to data. Using the in-memory analytics server of Cognos Express, what we're able to do is just re-present that data in a different way to make it more useful in terms of understanding performance. So often what we find is there's not a lot of data manipulation or reorganization so much as data modeling in terms of how we look at the data.
All right, Dan, anything to add?
Yeah, I would just add that as you start to model the business and have consistency in information, how you look at customers and how you look at products and orders and other things. That's really the role of defining those models, as Don said. It gets very interesting when business users start to ask questions like, which are my most profitable customers? It's not just about organizing the data, it's also about coming to agreement as to how to calculate profitability and ensuring that as people are doing the analysis going forward is that those calculations get applied in a consistent fashion against that trusted data set. So it really is more around a business agreement and a business discussion than around the technology and metadata modeling challenge.
All right, thanks. I thought one of the excellent points that Dan made in his presentation was with regard to this gap between the 70% of IT folks who want to do something about BI and the 35% who've actually done something in the mid-market. And apparently our viewers agree because we've had a number of questions around cost and budget disruption to business and IT experience, skills, and resources. So let's take a look at that IT skills, experience, and resources first. How do I, as an IT manager, find people to bring the right BI skill set to my organization? And Ray, can you take that one on, having been through this recently?
Well, what I have to say on this one, we knew we had a need for some business intelligence, so we've started to look around, and when we approach Acumetrics, I think they've brought a lot of skill set to the table that kind of made us, I would say, confident that between the limited skills and time that we had with their skills, that there was actually a way to actually get to where we were trying to do without having to surmount a huge effort and time and training up front. So we worked with them. We've worked on what we were trying to achieve, how we were going to get there. And before we actually got started, we kind of figured out how we would go about implementing, whether it was doable. Because, obviously, going back to the fact we're small, you want to make sure that you're going to have a success. So you have to sell the success to the organization. And in order to do this, the success also includes how you're going to go about doing it so that you have the right people engaged at the right time with the right expertise and also the available consultant to support you throughout that phases. So once we had worked all of the above, we were pretty confident that we have a good way to achieve it.
Don, is that a typical approach, or do most organizations have to go out and hire skilled folks?
No, we're finding, especially in the mid-market, that's very typical. Again, you have limited budget. Everybody has a full-time job already, but there's this need for an additional solution. So leveraging the skills of a business partner allows you to get there without taking on that additional overhead, if you will. As the customers or the clients succeed and grow, there will come a time where they've reached that sort of critical mass and it's time to bring in some internal resources. But this allows you to get started without that initial upfront investment.
Which leads us nicely to another question we received. If BI is a growth area, how do I, as an IT professional, improve my skill set? Dan, can you tackle that one?
Yeah, I think I would point to a few different areas. First, the IBM Cognos Innovation Center. It's an online resource it's open to the world, and it really is designed to provide best practices and blueprints and a better understanding around the broader business analytics topic. The second recommendation would be download Cognos Express and try it for yourself. There's a very easy process pointing right off the IBM.com website where you can have full access to the product, the documentation, some education modules there, and there's no better experience, I think, than trying it for yourself and seeing how easy it is.
Here's a follow-up question on the data point that was made earlier. Should a company embark on a master data management project prior to moving to BI? Don?
I think that a master data management project can be quite valuable in a lot of organizations, but I think it's more of an extension of an overall business information project. And again, it's going to depend on the data assets that you have and where you have to manage those assets. And again, depending on budget and scope, often a master data management is a bit bigger than most mid-sized companies are ready to tackle at the beginning. So I would tend to think that for mid-sized companies, it's more embark on a BI. You will discover along the way the issues that you have with your data, from data quality and data integration, and then resolve those with the appropriate tools as you move forward.
Dan, did you have anything on that?
Yeah, I go back to the think big and start small. Master data management, a data warehouse initiative. Those will all be very important down the road, but I don't think you want to start there. I think you want to, define a project that is narrow enough in scope, but will deliver real value to the organization. Start there. Use the in-memory data capabilities of Cognos Express to build out and demonstrate the capabilities and grow from there. I think if you try to tackle it from an MDM perspective or data warehouse first, you'll get bogged down.